that we could talk about 2019 hit list. I did one of these last year and I had loads of you who were weirdly actually interested in it. This is all the things that in this new year that I would like to buy, hopefully. Now, for any of you who are interested or care, I also do videos to do with your inner self and work and happiness, basically the yin and yang of materialism and your inner self. And I've just done a video on all of the things that I want to achieve this year that are more personal goals, so if you're interested in that, I'm going to link to that below. But from a materialistic point of view, the first thing on my list, well, I should say I've got quite a few handbags on here and they're all off the same list that I had last year. Something has been stopping me buying them. I don't know, I'm going to come onto it. Although it stops me buying them, I still want them. That doesn't change that. The first thing on my list is a trip to Singapore. I told you I was going big here. My plan is, David and I really want to do a trip of the East. What we quite want to do is to fly to Beijing and do like the Great Wall of China and see everything going on there. Then we want to fly to either Shanghai and or Hong Kong, and then the plan is then to go to Singapore and then up to Tokyo and then back home. And because it's kind of 12 hours from Heathrow to Beijing, we're thinking, well, while we're over there we might as well do a few things. And it's always been a really big dream of both of ours to go over there, and definitely Tokyo for me. I don't know why, there's just like, the place fascinates me. I just would love to. I also really want to go to Seoul in South Korea. The second thing on my list is a Chanel classic flap, but I want the medium size. And I quite want it in lambskin, even though I know I'll kick myself for it. So at the moment I have got this Chanel classic flap jumbo, beautiful bag. Very fortunate to have it, really love it, but since buying it I actually find it for every day it's quite big. And when I've tried the medium size, the small I think looks too small on me, because I'm quite big in heels. I'm like 6 foot, and I feel like the small gets lost on me and makes me look even bigger. But going for the medium is a great in between, because that works quite nicely in terms of sizing. And I'd love to get one of those with silver hardware in the lambskin, even though I know caviar is going to wear a hell of a lot better. But I just think that lambskin medium just looks so classic, it looks so pretty. Last time I looked, how much were they? 3,800. The next thing on my list is the Lamborghini, which is a very limited edition car that is a bit like the Porsche GT program. You have to be very special to get yourself on a list. You have to have bought a ton of cars. We have bought a Lamborghini Huracan that we're just about to sell now, actually, because we don't really use it. One of our friends has got one, and I tell you what, when he starts it, it's like the devil has just arrived. It's so loud. Maria Tash, there is actually something that I want to do. So some of you will have seen at the end of last year I went to Maria Tash and I had my ears, they call it curated, because they don't pierce them, they design them for you, and they design it based on your actual ear shape. So for example, I've had a lot of you asking me about healing, so I got the helix piercing at the top. I then got this done on the lobe. So for example, I was going to get that put down here, but they were like, oh, because your ear goes in slightly there, that's going to sit better putting it there. So they really work it around you and around the jewelry that you're going for. And then on this side I've got like a moon there. Tell you something, in regards to healing, the helix has actually not been a problem. It's the lobes. Oh my gosh, they hurt. They have been the hardest thing to heal. Like really, when I got my ears pierced regular, I think I forgot how much they hurt. I always think about babies when they get this done, because now I know how much it hurts. I'm like, oh. What I quite like to have done is, I feel that now I've had that top bit doing, the other side looks a bit bare. So I'd like to get a piercing around about there, and I'd like to have the lotus piece of jewellery. That's ideally what I'd like to have done, but I don't want to do it until this is healed, because I already can't sleep on it, and the last thing I need is something else going on this side. So yes, I've had loads of you asking me actually about that jewellery, because it is really expensive. for what it is, and blatantly you are paying for the name, but I will say this, the service is impeccable. The attention to detail is impeccable. Like, I went in there, my appointment was at 4, I didn't actually get the treatment done until about 5:30 because they'd spent all of that time working with me, showing me different placements and making sure that I was absolutely happy with it. The service was really good, and also their pieces are so pretty. Somehow they managed to make multiple piercings look classy, and that's another reason why I've never done it before, and this is no disrespect to any of you who have got multiple piercings, but I never did it because I'd never seen it done in a classy way until I started looking at Maria Tash, and just the way it's been put together, I think anyway. I'm sure there will be those of you who disagree, but I just feel like the way they do it, it looks edgy, but yeah, just classy at the same time. And also when you buy it, I've noticed they don't tell you the quality of the diamonds that you're buying. I mean, it's all diamonds in here, but I don't know the clarity, or I don't know any of that. So it's like, it's really hard to know whether you've paid over for the quantity of gold and the diamonds. It's really hard to know that. But do I recommend them? Yeah, I still do, and I'd still go back to them. I quite like them. Chanel Vanity Case. How many of you have seen this? I'm not talking about the bag version actually, I'm talking about the actual vanity case. I saw this in 2017. You could use this as a bag because it's got the quilting, it's got like a tiny CC on the top, and it's got a little handle on it. You could easily put like a bag organizer inside that, and it's just quite a sweet thing. And if you get a certain size of it, it doesn't look like you're carrying around your makeup case. It actually looks quite twee and quite sweet. And I've put it off for a while because it's just a tad bit over £1,000, which for Chanel is cheap. But, you know, for £1,000, there are loads of other things I can do with that, and so I've always put it off. But that's not to say it's ever come off the list. Here is the point where everything gets really confusing. I have got 1, 2, 3 bags from Louis Vuitton that I have had on my mind. One of them I've had on my mind since 2017, and I've not done it. The first one, I feel bored talking about it, it's the Pochette Metis. Do you remember when it came out in pink, in the Emperant leather? Is that how you pronounce it? It came out in the pink, and at the time I was like, oh, I'm so obsessed, I need that bag. And I'm actually really glad I didn't get it, particularly in that colour, because I just knew that I would have dirtied that colour. And also when I saw that colour in real life, although it was pink, it had a slight yellow tone to it. It wasn't like a baby pink, even though it looks like it could be in the pictures. If I was going to get that bag, I always decided that I would want to get it in either red or probably in black. I quite like the black look of it, and the black look also on that particular finish somehow masks very slightly the LV monogram print on it and makes it like toned down a bit. The other bag that I've been thinking about, and I feel like it's got the edge actually over the Pochette Metis, is the, what's it called, MyLockMe. How beautiful is this bag? I think so anyway. I really like on the front of it, it's got that sort of envelope design. I like the clean black with the silver hardware. I like the simplicity of it. I like the envelope design on the front. I can just imagine a whole load of ways that I could wear that bag, and I just feel like the silver hardware makes it look really clean and crisp. This is 1,980, which, I mean, you know, if you compare that to Dior and Chanel money, that's practically giving it away. I know that's ridiculous, but you know, Chanel stuff now, you're looking at 3,000. Top end of 2. I mean, Louis Vuitton, at their money, they're giving this stuff away. And I do really like it, and every time I see it, it catches my eye, but I don't get it because when I see it, it's kind of like, you know those bags that you don't see them and you think, I need this right now. It's one of those bags that I know they're always gonna have. It's gonna end up being just like it would end up for me just being like a casual most day bag that I would use, as opposed to something like in a colour or in a finish or in a texture that I would use on a more special occasion. The other thing that I've had on the list for a while is the NeoNoe, which I think, didn't that get released, like the newer version of it came out in 2017? I think so. because the Noe's always been around, but then the NeoNoe came out in 2017, I think. If this didn't have the LV monogram on the outside, I'd probably get it. Now they do have it in a black colour, which actually looks, the black with the silver hardware here looks very, very similar to the MyLockMe bag that I showed you a second ago. However, the black version of it, I don't like the bright pink piping that's running around it. And when I saw this back in 2017 or 2018, I thought, oh, because I think they had one that was black with like neon yellow as well at the time. And I thought, oh, maybe they'll change that. You know, it's just come out, maybe they'll change it, because I'd love it if the whole thing was just black. Saw this on the website and I thought, oh, have they updated it? And then I clicked it and I was like, oh, they haven't. And I think if it was more of a toned down baby pink, like the rose ballerine pink that they have, I'd prefer it. But I don't know, the neon versus the classicness and conservativeness of that bag feels a bit weird. I've really scaled that down this year. I remember last year, I feel like I had quite a few things on it. And, you know, for the most part, it's been a case of things that were on the list then, seeing them in real life and thinking, actually, now I see it, it's not something that I necessarily want. And the things that have stayed on the list have been things that I have seen in real life and I've still thought, yeah, I still quite like it. But I just need to, like, I don't know. Every time I go to Louis Vuitton, I see something in Chanel that I prefer. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're all having a really nice 2019, by the way. I said this before, but I really think that 2019 is going to be like the year for all of us.